Hi everybody, it's Annette from the Art of Intuition, and today we are going to revisit body language and what our body is telling us. And you will start to notice this the higher in consciousness you go, the body language topic starts to shift. And it stops being so much about what other people's body language is telling and what yours is telling you. So what are you doing? So it's always going to come back to us if you haven't noticed that. And we do observe other people, so you will observe these things in other people, but the focus is always going to be on you, because until you've mastered every aspect of your consciousness and of your reality, the focus needs to be on us. And the other people are just showing us what we're doing. And there are certain signs of certain things we do that show us that something's going on. And some signs just show you that you're starting to read your field more. One of the things that I notice that I do all the time now, and probably I've had some people ask me why I do it on here. If you notice when I'm talking, my eyes are going everywhere. They're up, they're this way, they're that way. And I do it quite a bit now, and I didn't used to do it. If I go back and look at older videos, I was never looking off as much as I look off now, which is odd because there's nobody here with me. I live alone. I'm looking off and I'm looking up and I'm reading the field. So if your eyes start going in different directions when you are talking to someone, and not the way humans do it, when you're in your human consciousness, when you live from that aspect, you don't want to make eye contact with people because humans have this misconception. And when I say humans, I just mean if you're ruled from your human consciousness, I will just categorize you as a human, which we all were at some point. When that's the aspect that makes the choices, right? If that's the one you live from. When we're human, we don't like to look people in the eye because we have this misconception that someone can really see something when we look them in the eye, right? Like they're going to know. They're going to know we're lying. They're going to know we're not really going to do that. Or they're going to know I don't like them or whatever. And it's got nothing to do with our eyes. The eyes are not the windows to the soul. That is the biggest misconception. The eyes don't really, the physical eyes in a sense, show you the matrix reality, but it shows you what it wants you to see. Your third eye is what really shows you what's going on. The eyes are not the window to the soul. Your soul is not even in there. When you're in your human consciousness, your soul is all around you. It's not in the body yet. The whole part of embodiment is getting your soul in the body, getting your higher aspects, your galactic aspects, all that embodied in. That's what we're doing, right? So when you're in your human consciousness, you don't want to look people in the eye. And when you're in a higher consciousness, it can be misconstrued for you don't want to look people in the eye. It's not that we don't want to look people in the eye. It's just you start to read your field. And if you're talking to someone and you notice your eyes are doing that, you're reading what's in your field to say, right? If someone else is talking and your eyes start going around like that, you're reading their field. And there's something that might have caught your attention. It could just be you're just reading their field, or something's caught your attention in the field. The words they're saying do not match the vibration that they're giving out when they're speaking. The tones, the frequency of the words, their inflection on the words does not match the words they're saying. That could be part of it. So your eyes are going to start to look at their field and you're going to read their field. You might not know consciously what you're reading. That takes a lot of awareness to be able to do that, especially when we're around a lot of people. That's tougher to do because we're trying to hold our field in place. And when there's a lot of people around, we tend to be a tad more offline. People always think because you have the capacity to do it, that everywhere you go, you're reading everybody's field and reading everybody's mind in a sense. You really don't read minds, you read fields. But we don't really do that. One, it's not, I have my own field to take care of. I can't worry about everybody else's. So it's not like we're constantly, reading everybody's field and seeing what's going on with everybody. Because when you're out and about, there are very few people, only one person really I know, that can actually be out amongst a massive amount of people and still be able to read everything in everybody's field consciously. Because our bodies work double time, triple time to keep our vibration up, to keep the whole field in place. The highest vibration is who controls the field. So if I'm the highest vibration in a space and I'm holding down that field, so my body has to overcompensate for everyone not at that vibration and work more, which is going to take me offline on a lot of other things I'm trying to do. So I'm doing them unconsciously, and I might get to a spot, like I might go to the bathroom where it's just me in there, and then consciously it might register a little bit more with what was going on. In that moment, I might not even get it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends. It depends on how many people are around, what's really going on. And if I really need to get it, I'll get it. But we might get it later. And if you found your eyes doing that, and another one is on the same vein, is when you're cocking your head side to side, you're trying to pick up the frequency, a different frequency than the one that's currently you're getting. You know, there's something else stronger you're trying to pick up on. I used to do it quite a bit. I don't cock my head as much as I used to. Now my eyes are doing that. My eyes are doing the everywhere thing now. But I used to cock my head a lot. And it's because your head is like an antenna. And it was moving around. When I would especially do energy readings back years ago, I would cock my head to get the message, in a sense. Like something was going on and I wasn't quite getting it. So I'd start moving my head around to kind of tune into the frequency. So if you start doing that, it's kind of in the same vein. You're trying to tune in on something else they're not saying. You know, something else is a little bit stronger than what they're saying. Energetically is always going to be stronger than the words. The words don't matter. The words make humans feel better. It doesn't matter what anybody is saying. Most of the stuff, if you're really in your human consciousness, you don't mean anything you say anyway, so it doesn't matter. So it has to do more with what is not being said. And if you don't get it consciously, you just notice your head's moving around a lot when you talk to a certain person. You might want to then go home and go, what's going on with that? Let me see. What was I picking up on? Why was my head doing that? And if you're not getting it, you can always sleep on it to see if you get more insight, or ask for some kind of external marker, you know, a song on the radio to help clue you in. Just something else is going on in the field. There's something else you're picking up on. And this is not so much to do with the other person. It's just to notice what your body's doing around different people, because we want to have the awareness on ourselves. I'm just going to reiterate what I said in the beginning. I think I said it in the beginning. It's not about the other person. It's about what we're picking up, what we're doing when we're around the other person. Another one, when we try to get ourselves physically bigger around people. I can still catch myself doing this one, where you put your hands on your hips. You start to kind of puff out a little bit. When we're puffing out, we're trying to physically get bigger, because we're energetically feeling smaller. We're energetically dimming down a little bit. We're, for whatever reason, not feeling our beautiful, highest aspect, very energetically large self. You know, something's going on. You know, something's going on. We're around this person, we feel small. We feel like we have to overcompensate with all these other human things. You know, we do kind of observe this in others, but it's very important first we observe it in ourselves. But you will see a lot of other people doing this, where they'll spread out a lot. You know, they sit down in a booth, they spread out a lot. You might sit down in a booth and spread out a lot. You're kind of all over the place, you know. You're trying to physically take up a lot of space, because energetically you're not taking up any space. You're energetically still feeling very small. So when you find yourself doing any of these posturing, there's something going on with us when we start doing that. Like, what's going on with me? So you can try to stop doing it. If you notice yourself doing it, stop doing it and see how you feel. And if you start going back to doing it again, when you get to a place where you're by yourself and can really kind of feel into that, what's going on with me? Why am I posturing? Why am I puffing up like that? Now, body language, I'm going to entitle this one, I think, body language or something like that. But I do want to put in something else. When we start bragging, it's kind of a verbal body language. You know, we're trying to puff ourselves up. We're trying to validate ourselves. We're trying to say, oh, I do this, I have this. You'll start to notice people doing that in conversations. I've noticed that a lot lately with people doing that in conversations. I used to catch myself doing that. I tend to have moved out of that energy, but I'll still catch myself doing it. Sometimes I'll say something. I'm like, why did I say that? You know, why did I bring that up? That had nothing to do with the conversation. Why did I try to put that in there to puff myself up more? Why am I trying to get approval from this person? Why am I seeking approval from this person? Why do I want to feel validated? Why did I even bring that stuff up? Because you'll notice that when you're really in your human consciousness, I can pretty much guarantee when I start talking to a person, within like the first 4 minutes of the conversation, they're going to say something about something to validate themselves in the conversation. It kind of has been a theme lately with a lot of people. So if I catch myself doing it, I look who we're doing it with. You know, what was going on with me in that moment? It's always to turn the conversation kind of back on ourselves. What is my body doing? What am I doing? You know, and I'm going to throw this in, and I don't know what I'm going to call this one. This is a mosh class. Sexual attraction and sexual energy. And I've done a lot of videos about consciousness and sex, so I don't want to get too much in here, but I do kind of want to touch on a little bit. If we do feel sexual energy and a sexual attraction, we do want to see why that's there. It doesn't mean you have to act on it. You know, that's going to be what feels appropriate for each person in that moment. But if it is there, you do want to kind of explore, what is that about? You know, you don't want to ignore it. A lot of people think they get to certain places in consciousness and they have to kind of ignore it because it doesn't fit. You know, sex doesn't fit into this, or sex isn't conscious, or sex isn't this. Sex is used to clear distortions. It is a point where your sexual energy turns into creator energy. But if you are feeling that when you're around a certain person, or something is kind of bringing that up for you, don't ignore it. It doesn't mean you have to act it out if that doesn't feel appropriate, or with that person. The person doesn't matter. It's just, it's there. What's going on with that? Let me kind of look at that. You know, don't ignore any of this stuff. It's all kind of giving you a sign. And with the posturing, you know, with any of this stuff, it's just kind of showing us what's going on with us, what we're picking up on, you know, so just pay attention. Consciousness means we're conscious of everything we do, everything we think, every word we say, every movement our body makes. We're conscious of what we're doing. We're conscious of what's going on. So take a hard look and keep practicing the art of intuition.